This is episode 109 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Henry Washington. You're going to want to listen up for this story. 6 years ago, Henry had 1,000 in the bank. Now he has 116 rentals or more, doing at least 15 flips a year. He's the co-host of one of my favorite podcasts, On the Market by Bigger Pockets. And he also has a Bigger Pockets book coming out in May, Real Estate Deal Maker. Henry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot we were on a panel together at BPCon, which is where we finally met in person. So it was actually cool to meet you in person before we do this, because I feel like we know a little bit more about each other. So thanks for taking the time.
Man, thank you for having me. Long time coming. Glad I get to do it.
Yeah, man. So how old were you when you first started to think about real estate?
I was 36.
See, this is why I asked, because that's awesome. I think a lot of people listening think, oh, if they didn't think about it when they're 18, they can't do it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you think about it, though, before 36?
I didn't know I needed to. I was raised by my pretty traditional parents in terms of like education. Like they wanted me to go to college, get a degree, get a good job, climb the corporate ladder. It's if you think about it from the perspective of being, a Black American born in the 80s, that means my parents were obviously coming up earlier than that. And, there was just less professional Black people in the workplace. And so like for them to be able to offer me a life where that was a possibility is a really big deal. And so my whole life, it was like pounded in my brain with a hammer, like you're going to college and you're gonna go get a good job. And so I didn't it was just what I was gonna do. And then I did all those things and realized that I still couldn't afford the life I felt like I wanted, even through doing that.
What was the first thing that kind of made the light bulb pop up?
Yeah. I was, I recently spoke at an event and the guy he knew my story and he was telling it and he made this hilarious joke. He was like, Will, when you're panicking about not making enough money, literally having a panic attack at 3 a.m, you have no idea what you're going to do. You just go to the one thing, that one place that will help you out of a situation like this. Begins with the letter G. Google.
Pass on prayer, go to Google.
And so, I Googled it at 3 a.m. and just started seeing that normal people bought real estate. Now, said differently, I am a Christian. I pray a lot. So prayer absolutely helps. Yeah. But it was a good old Google. It was the prayer that led me to the Google search that led me to real estate.
Yeah. And I mean, right when you came upon it, I'm sure you didn't think, hey, in 6 years, I'm going to have over 100 rental units. How did you really start taking action on what you pulled from Google that early morning?
I have my original goals. We wrote our goals in a little notebook. We'd found this notebook in an airport. It was a goals notebook and it was literally like pigs with wings on it on the cover, write all the things that you would accomplish when pigs fly in here.
Yeah.
And so our original goals when we decided we were going to invest in real estate were to buy one house a year for the next 5 years and then see if we want to do more, right? That's what, that seems like a lot.
Yeah, right. I was going to say the same thing.
Unfathomable. Yeah. Right. And after we did our first one, I realized how not unfathomable that was. And we did 5 deals in our first month. So was the question like how did we get going so quickly?
Yeah. I mean, so where did you find the first deal and how did you know, this is okay? This is actually going to be something we're not going to lose on. Cause I think that when you're in that, there's just you have to figure it out. That's what it sounds like you were trying to do.
Yeah, no, I didn't. So taking action so quick, that's originally what you asked. And so what happened was Google led me to learning that real estate was a thing. And so then I had to figure out how to go do this thing. and I didn't know. And so I was like, I just need to find people who are doing it. There's got to be people in my backyard who are doing this. And so I just Googled real estate investor, groups, meetups, clubs, like anything I could find where investors were in a meeting. So I found my local RIA and a couple other groups, and I would just go to I was going to 3 to 4 meetups per month, every month, consistent. Like I was always in the room.
Yeah.
Always, like people. So I was in the room so much that people had no idea I'd never done a deal. They just assumed I was like killing it because I'm like at all these meetings.
And you also
They're
kind
gonna
of
be
have
cool.
verification from a
Yeah.
third party, like, hey, you've got a good deal on the hook here.
Yeah. So I went to my, investor network, and I was like, how the heck are you all finding these down payments? Like, how do I do this? I need 20 grand in 30 days. And one guy in particular sat on the phone with me. So what happened was I was brainstorming on my own. I couldn't figure it out. And so I called this guy who I had networked with, and I knew he was a buyer as well. And I really called him to say, hey, I can't find the money. I need to do something for my buddy. I said I would close on it. He's in a tight situation. Like, I know you can close on it. Like, just take the deal. I don't even need to make anything on it. Just help my friend. And
Well, and you're giving a gift to him also, like, this is a good deal. I wish I could do it, here.
He gave me my first lesson in entrepreneurship. He went over the deal. He said, Henry, this is a good deal. He said, I will buy this. He was like, but you need to figure it out. If you're going to be successful in this business, you got to go figure it out. Like, this is a good deal. You need to figure out a way to buy it. And I was like, I don't know how. And so he sat on the phone and he brainstormed different ideas with me. And he's the one who kind of put the bug in my ear about he's like, well, you can use a 401k loan. And I was like, I'm not trying to, cash out my 401k and, the penalties.
But doesn't that go back to kind of what we were all taught and what our parents, a lot of our parents said, like, hey, well, now you got the 401k, just like leave that, let it bake in the oven for a while, and then you get a little bit later.
Right. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to cash it out. And he's like, no, you can borrow against it. It's different. You won't pay penalties and fees. You'll pay it back with interest, but it's your money. So it's your interest too. And I was like, well, that sounds legit. Like he was like, you can borrow up to like 50% of what's in your 401k. And I was like, seems like a cheat code. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I just, well, I need a 401k to do that. So where do I get one of those?
Every step you achieve something, you've opened up another thing to figure out.
Right. And so I then went back to my wife, who, after my panic attack at 3 a.m, I woke up and I told her we were going to be real estate investors. And that's what I figured out at 3 a.m. And she was like, okay, that sounds great. And so I went back to her now and said, hey, remember when I said that we were going to be real estate investors? And you were like, yeah, let's do it. Well, we need to borrow 20 grand from your 401k so we can buy this house. And she was like, okay.
So how did you really start the snowball going? You got that first one, and then what happened with that in terms of making money that let you guys know, like, wow, well, okay, like we can do this?
Yeah. So I learned early on that if I could solve the two problems that most investors face, that I could grow my business. And I solved one of them by accident, and the other one was intentional. So you need deal flow and you need money flow, right? If you've got consistent lead flow and you've got money to buy those properties that isn't your own personal money, you'll buy as many deals as you feel comfortable buying in a given period of time, right? That's just facts. Like, you will at your comfort level. And so I solved the money problem because I walked into a local bank by proximity only. It was a local community bank, and they saw I was buying a really good deal. They called me after I bought that first property and said, we want to give you a line of credit on the equity so that you can use the equity as down payments for future deals that you bring to us. And so they were even willing to say, like, we'll let you leverage what you've already got with us to go buy more property with us. So you won't have to use any of your own money.